Hi, so I wanted to talk about something that I think is a really key issue that is overlooked, which is that your ability to manifest using the law of attraction is highly dependent on your level of meditative awareness. Basically, the skill level that you have achieved in meditation, your ability to put that into practice, that is what's going to determine the results that you get when you're using law of attraction. If you are not able to develop meditative awareness with your practice, um, your efforts in law of attraction you're not going to see as much of a return. So I wanted to talk about this because I feel like it's like somewhat obvious in one way, but it's also kind of overlooked, because I feel like there are some dots that need to be connected in order to put this together for like the average person who doesn't meditate and is starting out with law of attraction and really wants to change their life. You hear it all the time that meditation is part of it. Like, Abraham Hicks, she talks about do meditation to get into a neutral state. But that's pretty much all that she says about meditation. I mean, she throws some other things in, but her emphasis is about how to choose these thoughts. And you hear like, yes, do your meditation practice, but for people who are not like able to take what they're using or what they're practicing in their meditation practice and like kind of use it in their day-to-day life, it's not going to be obvious how this connects. And so the emphasis is more on choosing thoughts rather than like the foundation, which is developing this meditative awareness. So I want to kind of explain how having like a solid foundation of this meditative awareness will allow you to use the law of attraction. And so I want to begin with this metaphor that if you've done like some basic meditation courses, you've probably heard about this, where they use like the metaphor of the blue sky. And the blue sky is your awareness. And then you have clouds in the sky. And the clouds are your thoughts. And sometimes when it's really cloudy, we don't see the sky, so we don't have like awareness of the sky, and we're identified with just the fact that we have all these clouds in the sky. We're identified with our thoughts. The hard part for people who are just starting meditation or not able to kind of take their skills from meditation and use it just like in everyday life is that it's essential to identify who you are as the sky. And what I think is more natural for a lot of people is to identify with these thoughts. And it kind of feels like here's the negative thought, for example. If you're trying to like choose your thoughts, which is basically what law of attraction is about. You know you have some negative thoughts and you want to choose better thoughts. But the problem is that you're kind of like identified with this negative thought. And you might hear like, oh yeah, you're too identified with this negative thought. You have to kind of take some space and step back so that you are the blue sky. You're not this thought. But the problem with that is that it's very hard to do because we also see this positive thought over here. Let's say it's over here. And because we're so used to this identification process, we feel like to choose this positive thought, we also have to identify with it. And it's this process of identifying with these thoughts that is keeping us from becoming this blue sky and really like understanding that these thoughts, the positive, the negative ones, they're just kind of floating by in the sky. The reason that we need to do this is, I also want to say that it is very tempting also to feel like it's the right thing to do to identify with the positive thought, because when we identify with it, it like amplifies that positive thought, like we are that positive thought, and so it feels really good. It also feels really bad when we're identified with the negative thought. So really the key is to kind of like get some objectivity, and that way we can better identify the negative and the positive thought, and we're better able to kind of like detach our identity from that negative thought to the positive thought. And if you don't do that, you get caught up in this endless cycle of like there's a lot of resistance, and you're just kind of like a lot of energy being created in your mind because of all the resistance that's happening. It's a lot of energy, and it's hard to keep it up when there's so much going on in your mind and you're constantly fighting your thoughts, basically. So, how do we create this distance from all of our thoughts, not just the negative ones, but the positive ones too, and really identify not with the thoughts, not like, well, before I was, attached to these negative thoughts, and now I'm going to be attached to the positive ones. No, we have to step back from all of them. So how do we do this? And that's where the meditation process comes in. And when they talk about the technique of watching your breaths, and every time that a thought comes in, you notice it and let it go and return to the breath, and it concentrates your attention to the breathing. And that breathing process is a neutral process. So you're getting used to this feeling of being, putting your awareness in a more neutral state, which is the blue sky. The blue sky is a neutral state. And if you're like me, who is somebody who has just been identified with the thoughts your whole life, it's very uncomfortable and weird and foreign to kind of be in this neutral space. So that's why you practice meditation, to get yourself used to what is the feeling of having your attention concentrated into this neutral space of breathing. And hopefully, the more time that you spend in that neutral meditation space, concentrating just on the breathing and not, following the thoughts. When you follow the thoughts, you're attaching to them. You're identifying with them. So the idea is you're not doing that. You're staying in the neutral space. The more that you get used to it, the more that it feels normal and right. And hopefully the idea is that you take that neutrality, that feeling of being okay and, feeling familiar with this neutral state, you take that into your life when you're not meditating too. And that is how you're more able to get some distance from the thoughts. When you get the distance from your thoughts, then you are able to clearly see the negative thought passing by, the positive thought passing by, and you can kind of almost aim at it and go for it without identifying with it, but it's also just so much easier, so much more clear to identify these thoughts and actively choose them. Whereas if you're not able to have that distance, it can just feel like you're fighting your thoughts, and you're wrapped up in your head all day because you're just fighting your thoughts, trying to push away this negative thought and choosing the positive thought. It's a lot of resistance, a lot of energy, and a lot of mental energy. So yeah, I guess that's all I had to say about that topic. um, and yeah, the goal again of meditation is to bring that kind of meditative awareness into your everyday life. It's not just something you do 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening. You want to bring that state of awareness, state of being into your entire day. That's what the whole goal is. And I think sometimes that gets lost in, teachings of like how to make the most of your meditation practice. Meditation is not just about reducing stress, for those 20 minutes a day. It's about bringing it into your everyday life. And in that, you can use it to choose your thoughts actively, and hopefully that's one of the key skill sets to use for changing your life with law of attraction. So good luck to you. Hope this helps.